If you're new to crochet, then this video is a good place to start. Hi, I'm Rebecca and I'm going to be showing you how to get started with crochet. We'll be doing a stitch called double crochet. So you want a hook and some wool. Start by wrapping the wool around your finger, crossing it over, pick up the loop, put it over and pull through. So you'll end up with a slip knot. So if you pull that tight, the slip knot is free to move up and down the yarn. So put your hook through the loop and pull it tight. So there are two strands of wool. You want to make sure that you work with the one that attached to the ball, not the tail. So first wrap the wool around your fingers, under your first finger, over the next two, and then under your little finger. And hold your hook like you would a knife. We're going to start by doing 10 chain as a foundation row. So hold on to your wool, to your work with your thumb and middle finger to keep a bit of tension. Grab the wool and pull it through next to the slip knot. So I'll show you again. Yarn around the wool, pick it up and drag it through. So you always end up with one loop on your hook. So you're picking up and making a chain. So keep doing that until you've got 10 chain, a row of 10 chain. That's going to be your foundation row. So just pause until you've done that. Now you should have a row now of 10 chain. So count the stitches by counting the bumps along. One of the mistakes people make at the start is by making it too tight, and you'll find that when you come back, if it's too tight, you might want to start again, but just see how you go. So on the way back, you do one chain called a turning chain, which doesn't count as the stitch, and then you want to go into that first stitch, the top of the bump. You'll see that the chain has got a single bump at the top and like a double bump at the bottom. So you just want to go into that single bump there. Put the yarn around the hook, pull it through, yarn around and pull it through both. I'll show you that again. So that's one stitch you can see there. So you put the end of the hook through the stitch, push it in, grab the yarn, pull it around, pull it through just that chain stitch, and then pull it through both loops on the hook. But put the end of the hook in, yarn around, pull it through. You've got two loops, yarn around, pull through both of those two loops. So keep doing that until you get to the end of that chain foundation row. So you should end up with 10 stitches in the. So if I'm going to show you the very last stitch of the row. Sometimes that's hard to see. It's right at the end. So make sure you don't miss that. It's probably the most common mistake. So if you just double check you've got 10 stitches by counting them. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And what we're going to be doing is coming back into the top of the stitches. So the top of the stitches, you can tell, is shaped in a V. So I'll try and point that out to you here. So there's two strands to the stitch in a V shape. That's the top of the stitch, and that's what you want to go through. So as you crochet, you're going to push the hook through both of those when you come back and do the double crochet coming back. The stitch we're doing today is called double crochet in UK terms. If you're American, you call it single crochet. It's a bit confusing, but they've both been the same thing. So you do a turning chain, then you put the point of the hook through both loops. So you end up with the both parts of the V and your original hook, yarn around, pull it through the V, the 2 strands of the V. You have 2 on your hook again, wrap around and pull it through. And you keep doing that. So you put through both strands of the V, yarn around, pull it through. You've got 2 strands on the hook, yarn around and pull it through. So you're going back towards the other end. So what we're doing here is called double crochet in rows. So you're just going backwards and forwards in groups of, we've got 10 stitches. And you build up the work in rows. So yeah, I would suggest you pause the video here to get to the last stitch. Put it through both. Just check you've got 10 stitches. So you've now completed 2 rows. So for the 3rd row, it's exactly the same as the 2nd row. I'm just going to show you something you can do that might help mark the start and the end of the row, because probably the biggest problem people have is being able to identify where the row starts and finishes until you get used to what the stitches look like. So what I do is you can put a safety pin into that first stitch that you've just made. So if you put a safety pin in, that just identifies that stitch, and when you get to it, you'll put one in the other end. So when I get to that, I'll just take the safety pin out again, but it marks the last stitch, and I've got more chance of making sure that I do 10 stitches. So you just keep working along the same as you did in the 2nd row to complete the 3rd row. Now at the end of the 3rd row, I'm going to take out that safety pin so I can do my final stitch where that pin was. So it gives me greater confidence that I'm going into the last stitch of the row. So now I've completed 3 rows in total. I'll do my turning chain, turn my work around and come back, 4th row. Put my safety pin in so that I remember when I get back. I've done a couple more rows just to show you what the stitches look like. Check I've got 10. The other thing to check is that your sides are nice and straight. So that's just a few rows of double crochet. To finish off, you cut your yarn, just grab a loop, pull it through and pull the wool all the way through. So it tightens as a knot, it's not going anywhere. And that's it, you're done. Well done.